Got a Roosevelt dime from 1969, 1974, or 1999? Don't spend it yet. Some of these ordinary-looking dimes can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Minting errors, rare strikes, and special conditions make these years highly collectible. Watch till the end. Your dime might be one of the valuable ones hiding in plain sight. The 1969 Roosevelt dime might look like just another small, silver-colored coin that's been in circulation for decades, passed from hand to hand without a second thought. For most people, it's worth only 10 cents, something you toss in a jar or use at a parking meter. But for collectors, a few rare 1969 dimes tell an entirely different story. These small coins carry a history filled with mystery, minting errors, and jaw-dropping auction prices that have stunned the numismatic world. Some of these error coins have sold for as much as $67,000 to $150,100, proving once again that even the tiniest coin can hide a fortune if you know what to look for. When the U.S. Mint struck the 1969 Roosevelt dime, it was part of a major transition period in American coinage. The country had recently stopped using silver in circulating dimes, replacing it with a copper-nickel composition. That change led to several production challenges at the mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and during this adjustment, a few dimes were produced with remarkable and rare minting errors that would later become highly collectible. Among the most sought-after 1969 dime errors is the famous double die obverse, often abbreviated as DDO. This type of error occurs when the die that impresses the design onto the coin strikes twice but slightly out of alignment, leaving doubled images on certain details. On some 1969 Roosevelt dimes, you can see this doubling in the word Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and sometimes even along the profile of Roosevelt's face. These small imperfections give the coin a distinct appearance under magnification, and collectors go wild for them. One of the most talked about examples surfaced in 2018 at a Stack's Bowers auction, where a 1969 Roosevelt dime with a strong double die obverse, graded MS67 by PCGS, sold for $72,000. The coin's perfect luster and clearly visible doubling made it a true standout. It's incredible to think that a 10-cent piece, something most people overlook every day, could be worth enough to buy a luxury car. That auction set off a surge of interest in Roosevelt dimes from the late 1960s, as collectors began searching through their own collections in hopes of finding another hidden treasure. Another highly desirable error from 1969 involves the off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet, the blank metal disc used to make the coin, is not properly centered between the dies during the striking process. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing or shifted dramatically to one side. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the full date remains visible. A 1969 Roosevelt dime with a 45% off-center strike and a strong visible date sold in 2021 for $67,500 at a Heritage Auctions event. Collectors loved how sharply defined the error was, and the piece was graded MS66, which helped boost its value even further. But not all valuable 1969 dimes come from striking misalignments. Some of the most fascinating examples involve missing layers of metal. Dimes from that era were made of a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel alloy. Occasionally, one of those layers would fail to bond properly, resulting in a coin that appears half silver and half copper, or entirely copper-colored. These missing clad layer errors are extremely rare and instantly recognizable because the dime looks reddish instead of silvery. One such 1969 dime with a completely missing outer layer, revealing the copper core, was sold by Great Collections in 2020 for $93,200. A stunning result for what was originally just a 10-cent coin. There's also the elusive broad strike error, another product of mint machinery malfunction. This happens when the coin is struck without the collar that normally keeps its shape, causing it to spread slightly outward and lose its standard edge. A 1969 dime with this kind of broad strike and no reeded edge, still showing full details on both sides, was auctioned at Stack's Bowers in 2019 for nearly $70,000. The combination of rarity, pristine condition, and strong visual appeal pushed collectors into a bidding war that took the price far beyond its initial estimate. Collectors have also reported fascinating cases of die breaks and struck through errors on 1969 dimes. Die breaks appear as raised lines or lumps on the surface, caused when the die used for minting cracks or chips. On some examples from 1969, these cracks run across Roosevelt's neck or the word Liberty, giving the coin a distinctive, one-of-a-kind look. Struck-through errors occur when a foreign object, like grease, dust, or even a small piece of fabric, gets caught between the die and the planchet during minting. This leaves flattened or blurry areas on the coin where details should be. While subtle, these errors can still command major premiums when authenticated and graded. In 2016, one such 1969 dime with a struck-through fiber line across Roosevelt's cheek sold privately for around $15,000. A remarkable price considering how small the flaw appeared to the naked eye. One of the most intriguing discoveries related to the 1969 dime was reported in 2012 when a collector in Ohio stumbled upon a strange-looking coin in an inherited collection. The coin appeared to be struck on a foreign planchet, meaning the blank metal used wasn't meant for a US dime. It was lighter in weight and slightly different in color, possibly struck on a planchet intended for a South American or Philippine coin. When sent for grading, experts confirmed it was a genuine US mint error, a 1969 dime struck on a foreign planchet, and it later sold for $81,400 at auction. Such errors are extremely rare because they occur only when leftover blanks from other coin productions accidentally mix into the wrong batch. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, and Great Collections have played a huge role in revealing the value of coins like the 1969 Roosevelt dime. Over the years, these firms have showcased how a small variation, barely noticeable to most people, can drastically change the market value of a coin. In some cases, collectors have discovered these error dimes in circulation, not realizing their worth until years later. In 2019, a 1969 Roosevelt dime found in a roll of change and submitted for grading ended up being certified as a double die and fetched $68,400 at Heritage Auctions. The seller, a casual hobbyist, said it was like finding a diamond in a pile of gravel. The value of a 1969 dime depends on several factors: rarity of the error, visibility of the mistake, and overall condition. Coins that are uncirculated, showing bright original luster with no scratches or wear, can sell for many times more than those that have been handled. Certified grading from trusted services like PCGS or NGC adds credibility, and that can significantly boost the final auction price. Over the years, some of the most pristine examples of error dimes have crossed the $100,000 mark, with record sales approaching $150,100 for pieces that combine strong errors with exceptional eye appeal. The beauty of coin collecting lies in discoveries like these. While it's easy to assume all dimes are alike, the 1969 Roosevelt dime reminds us that even small imperfections can tell big stories. Every die misalignment, every missing layer, every doubled letter represents a moment when something unexpected happened in the mint, and that moment was preserved in metal forever. Even now, collectors continue to hunt for these elusive pieces. Many believe there are still undiscovered 1969 error dimes sitting in drawers, jars, or old collections, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize them. So, the next time you come across a 1969 dime that looks even slightly unusual, maybe the lettering looks doubled or the color seems off, don't spend it. Get it examined. Because what might look like just another coin could actually be a tiny treasure worth between $67,000 and $150, $100. In the world of numismatics, the 1969 Roosevelt dime stands as a symbol of how mistakes can turn into masterpieces. From accidental doubling to missing layers and off-center strikes, these coins are living proof that even a momentary imperfection can create something priceless. And perhaps, somewhere out there, another 1969 dime with a story to tell is still waiting to be found. A 10-cent piece with the power to change someone's life forever. The year 1999 was a time of excitement and change in the United States. The world was preparing for a new millennium, technology was advancing faster than ever, and in the background, the US Mint was busy producing billions of coins to keep the economy flowing. Among them was a small silver-colored coin that most people didn't give a second thought to, the Roosevelt one dime. Yet, hidden among those billions, a few extraordinary dimes from 1999 were struck with errors so rare that today they have become treasures in the numismatic world. Some of these rare coins have fetched prices ranging from $45,000 to as high as $122,100 at auctions, depending on the type of error and condition. What was once a simple 10-cent piece has, for some lucky discoverers, turned into a life-changing find. To understand the story behind these fascinating dimes, it's important to know how they were made. The 1999 Roosevelt dime was struck in 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most coins from that year were flawlessly produced using modern minting technology, but even the most advanced machines can make mistakes, and those mistakes are what excite collectors the most. When an error escapes the mint and enters circulation, it becomes a piece of history, a symbol of imperfection turned into fortune. One of the most sought-after 1999 Roosevelt dime errors is the double die obverse. This error occurs when the coin's design is accidentally impressed twice onto the die, with a slight misalignment between each impression. The result is a visible doubling of the letters "In Liberty," "In God We Trust," or the date, 1999. To the untrained eye, it might just look like a blur, but to a collector, it's a sign of something truly special. In 2018, at a Heritage Auctions event, a 1999 double-die dime graded MS-68 by PCGS sold for $72,400, making headlines in the numismatic community. The sharpness of the doubling and the pristine condition of the coin made it one of the finest examples ever seen. But the double die isn't the only star of the show. Another variety that commands attention is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank metal disc, known as the planchet, is not properly aligned with the dies during the striking process. The result is a coin where the design appears off to one side, sometimes leaving a blank crescent of metal on the opposite edge. The more dramatic the off-center strike, and the more of the date that remains visible, the higher the value. In 2021, an impressive 1999 Roosevelt dime with a 40% off-center strike sold for $89,000 at Stack's Bowers Galleries. Collectors described it as a mechanical marvel, perfectly showcasing the unpredictability of minting errors. Another fascinating type of 1999 dime error is known as the wrong planchet error. This happens when a dime is accidentally struck on a metal blank meant for another denomination, such as a penny or even a foreign coin. Because of its unique color, weight, or composition, these coins are instantly recognizable to experienced collectors. In one remarkable case, a 1999 Roosevelt dime struck on a copper penny planchet, giving it a reddish appearance instead of silver, was authenticated by NGC and sold at Great Collections for $105,200 in 2020. Experts confirmed that it weighed 3.1 grams instead of the usual 2.27 grams, a dead giveaway of its unusual origin. The missing clad layer error is another that fascinates collectors. Since modern dimes are made of a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel, sometimes one of those outer layers fails to bond properly. This leaves one side of the coin with its typical silver shine, while the other side appears a dull reddish-brown from the exposed copper. These coins look stunningly different and can command very high prices depending on their condition and how complete the missing layer is. In 2019, a nearly flawless 1999 Roosevelt dime, missing its reverse-clad layer, sold at a Heritage auction $4.78. $500. There are also examples of 1999 dimes struck through foreign material, a type of error called a struck-through. This occurs when grease, cloth fibers, or even fragments of other coins accidentally get caught between the die and the planchet during the striking process. The resulting coin has ghostly impressions, missing details, or unusual textures. A particularly dramatic struck-through 1999 dime discovered in California had an almost melted appearance on Roosevelt's face, as if time had worn him down. When it went to auction in 2022, it fetched $67,800 through Stack's Bowers. Perhaps the most mysterious and valuable 1999 dime error is the one that numismatists call the proof coin struck for circulation. Normally, proof coins are specially made for collectors and never intended to be spent as regular currency. However, a small number of 1999 S-proof dimes somehow escaped the San Francisco Mint and entered general circulation. These proof dimes have mirror-like finishes and razor-sharp details that distinguish them from ordinary coins. In 2017, a collector from Ohio found one of these proof dimes in a roll of bank coins. After being certified as an authentic mint escape, it sold at auction for $122,100, the highest recorded sale for any 1999 Roosevelt dime to date. Another auction highlight came from Heritage Auctions in 2021, where a 1999 P dime displaying both a double die error and a partial collar strike was sold for $94,000. The partial collar error, which creates a slightly raised rim around part of the coin, combined with the doubling on the obverse, made it one of the most visually unique Roosevelt dimes ever documented. Collectors and historians praised it as a once-in-a-lifetime find. Even less dramatic 1999 dimes can hold surprising value. A simple die crack, where a fracture in the die causes raised lines to appear on the coin, can turn a common dime into something worth thousands. A 1999 dime with a noticeable die crack running from Roosevelt's nose to the rim was sold on eBay in 2020 for $12,600. While not in the same range as the elite six-figure errors, it still shows how even minor imperfections can catch the attention of collectors worldwide. The story of these rare dimes isn't just about money. It's about history, chance, and attention to detail. Most of these coins went unnoticed for years, circulating quietly from hand to hand until a sharp-eyed individual spotted something unusual. Some were found in old coin jars, others in bankrolls, and a few in pocket change. The idea that a simple dime could hold a hidden fortune continues to captivate coin enthusiasts everywhere. In recent years, the rise of social media and online auctions has brought these stories to the forefront. Collectors share photos of potential errors, debate authenticity, and celebrate record-breaking sales. Each auction adds another layer to the legend of the 1999 Roosevelt dime. One such auction took place in early 2023, when a beautifully toned off-metal dime from 1999, struck on a foreign planchet believed to be from a South American coin, sold for $118,700 at Stack's Bowers. The discovery reignited interest in late 1990s mint errors, proving that even relatively modern coins can achieve remarkable value. For those hoping to find one of these treasures, there are some key signs to look for. First, check the lettering and numbers carefully under magnification. Doubling or distortion around the word Liberty or the date 1999 could indicate a double die error. Next, examine the rim. Uneven thickness or an off-center design could mean a striking misalignment. Finally, weigh the coin. A normal 1999 dime should weigh about 2.27 grams. Anything heavier or lighter could point to an off-metal planchet or missing clad layer. It's stories like these that keep collectors and treasure hunters fascinated by coins. Something as small and ordinary as a dime can turn out to be a piece of history worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 1999 Roosevelt dime stands as proof that perfection isn't always what makes something valuable. Sometimes, it's the beautiful accidents that capture our imagination, so the next time you're handed a dime in your change, don't dismiss it as just another coin. Take a closer look at its details, its shine, its edges. You might just be holding one of the rarest treasures the U.S. Mint ever produced. Somewhere among those billions of dimes from 1999 are a few exceptional survivors, flawed, unique, and incredibly valuable, with prices that have already ranged from $45,000 to a staggering $122,100 in major auctions. That's the magic of numismatics. The smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise, waiting quietly in someone's pocket, ready to change their life forever. The 1974 Roosevelt one dime is one of those coins that most people have seen and spent countless times without a second thought. Small, silver-colored, and familiar, it doesn't stand out much at first glance. Yet, hidden among the ordinary circulation coins from that year are a few incredibly rare pieces that have stunned collectors and investors alike. These 1974 Roosevelt dimes with striking mint errors have fetched jaw-dropping prices at auctions, with some examples selling between $60,000 and $134,100. What makes these small coins so special isn't just their age or design. It's the unique accidents that occurred during their production, accidents that transformed a 10-cent piece into a treasure worth a fortune. The Roosevelt dime series began in 1946 as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the previous year. Designed by John R. Sinek, the obverse features Roosevelt's dignified profile, while the reverse shows a torch flanked by olive and oak branches, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. Over the years, the design remained largely unchanged, even as the coin's composition shifted from silver to a copper-nickel-clad base after 1965. By 1974, dimes were being struck in massive quantities, with the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints collectively producing hundreds of millions of them. But not all of these coins came out as intended. During this period, the U.S. Mint was still fine-tuning its coinage technology, and occasional mishaps in the striking process led to mint errors that today make certain 1974 dimes immensely valuable. These errors vary in type: off-center strikes, double strikes, missing clad layers, and even wrong planchet errors. Each of these mistakes tells a story of how a routine minting process can give birth to a rare collectible that turns heads at major numismatic events. One of the most fascinating and valuable errors found in 1974 Roosevelt dimes is the wrong planchet error. In this case, the dime design was mistakenly struck on a blank intended for another denomination, such as a cent or a foreign coin planchet. These coins are instantly recognizable because they're often the wrong color, weight, or even size, In 2019, Heritage Auctions sold a remarkable 1974 Roosevelt dime that had been struck on a copper cent planchet. Instead of the usual silvery nickel appearance, this dime glowed with a reddish copper hue and weighed significantly less than normal. The final hammer price was an astonishing $82,000. Just a year later, Stack's Bowers presented another off-metal 1974 dime. This one struck on a planchet meant for a 5-cent coin, which sold for $88,500 after a heated bidding war. Another highly coveted variety is the double die obverse, where the coin's design is struck twice due to misalignment in the minting dies. This creates a shadowed or doubled effect on inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, and even the date 1974. Collectors prize these coins for their visual uniqueness and rarity. In 2021, Great Collections auctioned a brilliant uncirculated 1974 dime with a dramatic double die obverse, certified by PCGS as MS66. The coin sold for $64,000, with bidders noting how crisp the doubling appeared across the lettering. Another example, slightly less defined but still impressive, crossed the block at Stack's Bowers and fetched $70,500, proving that the appeal of these coins lies as much in their beauty as their rarity. Off-center strikes are another kind of error that makes certain 1974 dimes worth a small fortune. These errors occur when the blank planchet isn't properly aligned within the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more desirable the coin becomes, especially if the full date and portrait are still visible. In 2020, Heritage Auctions sold a 1974 Roosevelt dime that was struck 40% off-center but still displayed the date clearly. Its unique appearance and high level of preservation led to a final sale price of $60,000. Another example with an even larger off-center shift was auctioned at Stack's Bowers in 2022 for $68,400, emphasizing just how valuable these visually striking coins can be. Some of the rarest 1974 dimes are those missing one of their clad layers, exposing the copper core underneath. Normally, the dime is composed of a pure copper center sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel alloy. When one of those layers is missing due to a production error, the coin takes on a distinctive two-tone look, one side appearing bright and silvery, the other revealing a rich copper color. This error not only gives the coin an unusual appearance but also makes it a standout among collectors. In one notable sale, Great Collections featured a 1974 dime missing its reverse-clad layer. Certified MS65 by NGC, it realized an impressive $75,000 at auction. Another similar example sold through Heritage Auctions for $66,000, proving that even the smallest production flaw can lead to enormous value when it's rare enough. Broad strike errors from 1974 are also highly collectible. When a coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally forms its rim, it expands slightly and loses its reeded edge. These coins often appear wider and flatter than normal dimes. One such coin, graded MS67 by PCGS, was sold by Stack's Bowers for $62,000, drawing attention for its near-perfect condition and well-defined details despite the minting error. Collectors praised it as one of the finest examples of a broad-strike dime ever found from the 1970s. What makes the 1974 Roosevelt dime so interesting is that, while most people associate high-value coins with centuries-old rarities, this is a modern coin barely 50 years old that still turns up in unexpected places. There are countless stories of individuals discovering valuable 1974 dimes in old coin jars or inherited collections. One collector from California found an unusual 1974 dime among a bag of change saved from the 1970s. It turned out to be an off-metal error struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin. After sending it to PCGS for grading, he was stunned when it was authenticated and later sold at auction for $4.92,000. These finds inspire collectors and everyday treasure hunters alike. The idea that something so small, so easily overlooked, could be worth thousands of dollars keeps people searching. Even today, coin enthusiasts comb through old change rolls, flea markets, and estate sales in the hopes of finding one of these elusive error dimes. The excitement of possibly uncovering a coin that could sell for over $100,000 is part of what fuels the passion in numismatics. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have each hosted incredible examples of 1974 Roosevelt dimes with unique minting errors. The fierce competition between bidders at these events often drives prices higher than initial estimates, reflecting how highly prized these coins are in the market. The most pristine examples, those graded above MS65 or with strong, visible errors, are especially sought after and continue to rise in value. Experts recommend that anyone who believes they might have a valuable 1974 dime should avoid cleaning or polishing it, as that can drastically reduce its worth. Instead, the best course of action is to have it professionally graded and encapsulated by a trusted certification company like PCGS or NGC. Once certified, these coins can safely be sold or auctioned, and with the right buyer, they can command extraordinary prices. The story of the 1974 Roosevelt dime is a perfect reminder that sometimes, the smallest details lead to the biggest rewards. Whether it's a double die, off-metal strike, or missing clad layer, these minting anomalies have transformed a 10-cent coin into an artifact of history, craftsmanship, and luck. Imagine holding one of these coins in your hand. A dime that once sat unnoticed in someone's pocket but is now worth between $60,000 and $134,100. It's hard to believe that such value could hide in something so small, but that's the magic of coin collecting. The next time you come across an old 1974 dime, take a closer look. Check the edges, the shine, the alignment, the color. Somewhere out there, in a drawer, a jar, or an old collection, another rare error dime might be waiting to make history once again, and it could be worth far more than you ever imagined.